Oh my gosh, what I try to do is not even fucking perfect. I make every fucking mistake in the fucking world. Oh my God, I gotta stay consistent, but I can't do it. But is that you? Consistency over perfection. Before we get into this, like, follow, subscribe, comment, and share. Let's get the engagement going to get your page up and get this to the right people so everybody can see this and we can heal. Let's do it. Watch the whole video also. Trust me, it's jewels. Now, let's talk about it. Perfection. Where does perfection come from? Perfection comes from the idea of expectation. A lot of us are dealing with a lot of negative things connected to our nervous system. I remember when I first started doing my TikTok, I would compare videos. Comparison is the thief of joy, and here's why. And I'll tell you how to reverse that if I can in another video. When you start to compare, like, damn, this video got a certain amount of views and this video didn't, where the fuck does that come from? It is an idea in the category of perfection, because you're assuming that this video that you like, this video should be the same way, and there goes the expectation. And you need to learn how to deal with expectation from a healthy space. And here's how to expect. One thing you need to understand, it is okay to expect for things to go your way, but you need to also understand you need to understand the flip side, the opposite. You don't control any outcomes. You only control how you respond to it. And a lot of times we respond as though how things should have been exactly how we thought it should have went. That is not the way to go. Let me tell you something about polarity. Polarity is a law of the universe explaining that everything has two sides, two poles, two aspects. That means that there's no red light without a green light. There's no lead without gold. There's no bad without good. There's no light without dark. There's no Lucifer without God. You understand what I'm saying? So once you kind of understand polarity, there's always going to be that outcome that you think could happen. And you may have thought, well, hey, listen, I've been through this before. You've never been through this before. You can take the same route to work, but you never take the same fucking steps. That's just the way it works. There's something called two truths. Takes two truths to make a whole. Laws of the universe, Kabbalion, check into it. Absolute is your internal truth, and external truth is relative. Okay? You have two truths. This is what creates the truth. So what you think could happen is absolute, and what really happens is relative. So that aspect of perfection you have to change. Perfection is now you defining expectation from a space of you accepting what reality may come and what reality you've internalized. Because sometimes it does go your way, but sometimes it doesn't. And whenever you feel like it's not going your way, your nervous system's going to respond to what you consistently practice. So if you're used to getting upset, getting frustrated, or overstimulated, by the way, it should go from anger to frustration to overstimulation to you just kind of understanding things as you breathe. Everybody goes through shit. I remember when I first started doing my clothing, and I was, because at one point I had an investor, and we would just order it from a manufacturer. I never had to do anything besides market and sell, right? Now I'm doing my first shirt, and I try to press it on a 300 GSM or 220 GSM type shirt, and guess what? This shit wouldn't stick. In my mind, I'm thinking that, hey, I did all the right things. I went, I got the shirt, I started my business, now I got the orders, and I can't fucking print? Oh man, what the fuck with these mistakes? That's what I'm talking about in relevance to the expectation. A lot of times our expectation, you haven't educated yourself, or I didn't educate myself on the idea of how to use the heat press. I didn't even read the instructions much. I was so, yeah, I'm on it, go get her. That was very impulsive of me. And a lot of times when you're focused on perfection, you're moving at an impulsive rate from a space of what you thought was. Doesn't work that way. But later on, because I didn't want to be better, so my piece aligned itself, I found out that I had to turn the pressure up on the heat press so it can stamp down better. Now I make my shirts like it's nothing. You see? What I will say is this. Success has no reign without failure. Perfection is not nothing without imperfection. And a lot of times, the reason why you're suffering is, once again, insanity is doing the same shit, expecting different results. You have to educate yourself on the things that you're in. And I'm not saying you just want to heighten your chances. That's all you're doing. That's the best you can do. How you respond is heightening your chances. And how do you do that? You have to educate yourself on the topics that you put yourself into. If you have skills that you're practicing and you want to be a master, let me teach you what mastery is based on the law of the universe and the Kabbalion. Mastery is not abnormal visions or fantasies. It is you putting higher over lower at all times. You'll be going through purgatory from hell to get to heaven. You got to understand, one is not one without the other. They all exist because they do. So perfection can't exist without imperfection. There goes the polarity. Mistakes don't exist without success. Mistakes, now you have to change the word. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to master. You're not making mistakes. You're experimenting. And that's the idea behind consistency is over perfection. Consistency is what the subconscious responds to. So you could fuck up as much times as you want, but if your intent is to be better, you will attract better skills in order to be better. Your goal, which is now the perfection, is to acknowledge that you are becoming better. If you skip past the part that you are becoming, you forgetting your self-awareness, you forgetting your self-love, you're forgetting your self-care. This is why I love doing these videos, because I need you guys to understand you fucking matter. I had to tell myself that, but I had to feel that. And when you understand that you matter, when your nervous system begins to move how you were comfortable moving, you don't avoid it. You inhale, and your subconscious sees that you're trying to align yourself with your highest version of you. There's a you that already did this. You have to make contact. What is the physical without the spirit? You wouldn't even be alive if you didn't even have a spirit. You got to understand what the breath is. Once you hold your breath, you're no longer with us. Now you're in contact with your spirit, which has been through this already. A lot of times, why you guys go through this labyrinth, or why I went through it, is because I forget that there's things that exist outside of what the ego has to offer. Now you have to change the system of the ego. The ego becomes divine when you learn to breathe through it. The ego is here for your survival. Now you need to change what's your survival and how you survive. In order to survive, you have to breathe. But now you have to heighten and elevate your science and understanding behind that breathing. What is your system? How does things work for you? What works for me is when I feel that flame and that fire, I hold. I let my subconscious know I am not afraid to participate. And this is why certain men can't be vulnerable when it comes to their relationship. You need to understand that's the other side. That's your feminine. The masculine is doing, the feminine is creative. You have to breathe and absorb that, and then you can participate in dealing with the feminine when you deal with yours. Consistency over perfection, always, but breathe through that consistency. Be aware of who you're becoming. Continue to be you, because it gets fucking better, but you have to acknowledge it for yourself. Love, peace. It's always fun doing this with you guys. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Continue to be great, and you're already perfect because you're imperfect. Love, like, follow, subscribe. Peace.